Hello, friends. It's John Connor, third of episode 192 of Shout and Playing with Magic, your premier Kitty Pryde Magic and Lockheed podcast. And today we're going to review Wolverine and Kitty Pryde 5, the final chapter, and then the rest of the books of last week. So let's get into it. Uh, so Wolverine and Kitty Pryde 5. So spoilers for all the comics of last week. We will get the final conclusion, which as soon as we got the body swap idea and the Snow Samurai established in the very first issue, we sort of knew how this series was going to end. I was hoping it was going to end with them at the airport, like welcoming Kitty and Logan back in 195, I think is when they come back, or maybe it's 192. And But it doesn't matter how we get there. But it doesn't end there, so I guess there's room for another mini series if we want to extend the long week Kitty and Wolverine were missing. But this issue we get and there was a moment when Ziggy was taking more and more aspects of Kitty's personality while in her body that I was like, is Chris Claremont going to literally have a moment where or flirt with the idea that it's been Ziggy this entire time and she just has Kitty's memories and we've all just been cool about it. But no, we don't go that way. Like she's literally they're swapped back in. But it's fun how they have that moment of trading each other's personalities, which I'm like, okay, like that is fun. But but no big moves like that. But Kitty and Ziggy Trask agreed to be best friends forever. And so, like, hey, is this setting up a third series by Chris Claremont about Kitty Pryde, or is he setting up a Eve Ewing plot in Exceptional X-Men? And but most likely it's just going to be a Chris Claremont yet another miniseries. But it'd be fun if it was set in current day because I don't think we've seen Ziggy in forever. The last time we saw her for sure was in Chris Claremont's X-Men Forever and Forever 2, which was, what if he was never kicked off the Jim Lee X-Men series? Which in retrospect is an awkward moment in time because if he had just died a little for months on end, Jim Lee would have moved on to Image and, he wouldn't have left the title, but by then he would have been, so embittered and who knows why he probably would have wanted to leave anyways. Um, And we get a lot of nice Carmen Pride moments, which is nice. Uh, and then I uploaded a video on my Jackal SII YouTube and TikTok of with Pink's Circle Game as the one because I was hearing the song. I was like, oh, this would be a fun Carmen Kitty thing. So I took images from the fourth issue and put it up there. I thought it was pretty nice. And then X-Men 21 came out. Scott's still locked away with Lindquist, the federal agent. And so Magic gets an alert that Trevor Fitzroy's back on the scene. And so she's like, I'm going to defeat him this time. I'm still team leader because I was the leader on that mission. And we're introduced, or not, but we're reintroduced to Trevor Fitzroy's upstarts. And I sort of like Orifice, even though he's a disgusting power guy, and he has the same power of like vomit that one Ecstatics character has. But is it Zinquest? Something like that. He's in that Deadpool 2 movie. But there's also a character that has leeches powers, but with rainbow effects and an adult. So I guess if you ever want an adult leech, but don't want to include Artie, you can use that character. Oh, and there's a Chewbacca character too on the upstarts. But Orifice is the only one I learned the name of. And the Chewbacca, the not Chewbacca character taunts Juggernaut for going soft. And so Juggernaut just like murders the guy in front of Magic when she's like, time to go. He's like, this guy calling me soft. I'm gonna show him not soft. What you think like Magic in the New Mutants movie? Like you don't need to make her racist. There's other ways to cause tension in a team dynamic. Like Juggernaut just rip off that guy's arm, you know, it would have been a pretty badass move, but now it's like an awkward, like, hey, Magic, you don't usually just slice and dice people to death. Like, and Dragonite doesn't seem like a character to me that murders people either, though I know he killed that little boy, the squid boy guy. Um, but he was under duress in that scenario, and this one just seemed awkward. I don't know. It just not what I would have preferred, but so that was X-Men 21. And then Jen, the Eagle power gal, really lays into Trevor Fitzroy, and they have a little moment where like she went from being super lonely, which was a heartbreaking scene with her and Quentin, which I'm glad that he took the time to be like, hey Jen, why are you sad? And then she like lays into him like, I have power now, I can beat you. And he's like, yeah, how does that feel being super strong? And I'm like, oh, she needs to learn a very important lesson about, with great power comes great responsibility, as one guy's fond of saying. And yeah, so I think that was all the highlights of that issue. And then we have Jeff the Land Shark 3, which had Logan and Psylocke in it, which is awkward as he's not on that team. And Magic should be in issue 5, but it's a very cute story as they're trying to fight Shadow Jeff. And at one point, Jeff has the ability to create adamantium fins as well as able to use um Quanen's psychic knife to the point where she's like, "Oh, he's using the totality of his psychic teeth," and I'm like, "Okay, like that scene alone worth the issue price admission itself." And Emma Frost and White Queen 3, she's on the run as the Hellfire Club's going after her. They don't quite play into the mole subplot, probably because we all know it's Tessa, and so we don't really need to spend too much time thinking about it. So, but it's showing how resourceful she is. Like she's going to a different country. She's going to try to connect with a guy who has severe mother issues. And, but the mother likes her, but he doesn't like Emma. So it's like, but yes, mother, I would do what you want me to do. On the way to that mother son pair, right, we see another great sequence where Emma's just walking through a group of people and being like, hug it out and punch herself in the face. And then she goes, Spider-Man. And like one guy right mentally thinks he's thipping himself, which is like, all right, Emma. Always a fun sequence of like, yeah, Emma never has to punch a person. Plus, this Emma, because it's a retro series, she doesn't have that diamond strength. So makes sense to just punch people as needed. And then we have Phoenix 14, which wasn't a bad issue. It was actually pretty enjoyable as we figure out Sarah Gray is from the White Hot Room. And so, did Jean create her? We're not sure. We're still figuring that all out. But the issue ends with Jean pulling up all the Phoenix former hosts. So Quentin Quires there, Rachel Summers is there, the greatest host of the Phoenix, in my personal opinion, as she went through at least 125 issues of Excalibur and was like, yeah, I mean, she's not in every one of those issues, unfortunately. But I mean, never had an issue with the Phoenix Force except for the Phoenix Force keeping her memory, her trauma in check. But yeah, I mean, never had a Dark Phoenix moment. And she fought Galactus and was able to control that power. But we're not supposed to think about Rachel and the Phoenix Force. But Rachel says hi, Mom, to Jean, and then Quentin Quires there, but also Hope Summers is there. So it's like, wait, are these the avatars from the White Hot Room, or is Rachel and Quentin really there? Like, there's some issues because I'm like, Hope Summers being there should be a big deal. She died at the end of the Cohen era. And so, what are we doing here? So, it's like, are all of them avatars from the White Hot Room represented in their bodies, or are they the actual characters just in the present? What, like, like that's a good cliffhanger. It's gotten me thinking about it. Yeah, Draft Phoenix. Oh, The Thing 4, which I guess was a retro series I didn't realize, but the cover had the Juggernaut punching the Thing. So I was like, I like the Juggernaut. which I respected the Juggernaut before, but him being best pals with Magic has made me really want like Juggernaut a bunch, and I really want to get that Funko of his, but it's like collector prices now, so it's like, all right, we'll see what's going on. Psylocke too. Um, and I want those two before. Who's on my wish list of Funkos? I know the Toad's on there from like the ones that predate me buying Funkos, which Walker D asked me who well, my first Funko was, and looking at them, I'm like, I'm not really sure which one of these was it. It probably was a Wolverine, right? Um, but those are my three wish list items, and then Onslaught and Dazzler. But Dazzler is at least on the official Funko website. And I wish we had the money when Onslaught was, because now Onslaught's not. I'm like, dang it. But $30 is hard to justify during the summer and just add it to the wish list and just check every so often. I'm still trying to get the Magic 8 Daughterman cover, but now that thing's to like 50 to $100, where I'm like, it's ridiculous. If they ever make a Daughterman Kitty Pryde cover, right, whatever that price is, I got to just get it through DCBS. Like it haunts me. Um, but the thing series. He fights the Juggernaut, and Black Tom's there, which immediately was like, oh, this is a retro series. Actually, no, it wasn't that moment. Though that was a fun exchange where the Juggernaut's like, nothing stops the Juggernaut. And so Grim punches. This was me punching. Kapow. Sorry. Sorry. He punches Black Tom, which irritates Juggernaut, and then he like does that a swirl throw to the Juggernaut. And he's like, yeah, nothing stops. He's like, no one's stopping you. Go after Black Tom. I'm like, oh, that's a fun twist. Sort of like in that the 2004 Fantastic Four movie where he's like, no thing to stop you. And I don't know why that line always comes in my brain where it's like, it's a clever line of like, no thing or nothing. It's because Doctor Doom had cured changed Ben Grimm back so he can't be the thing anymore. I'm like, hey, no thing can stop you. And it always comes up in my thing thoughts, which I don't have too many. But then Moonstar shows up, pre-meteorite, from the Thunderbolts. And then that's when I was like, oh, this is a retro series. And so he's just fighting a bunch of goons. The Kingpin put like a $10 million bounty on his head, and so everyone's trying to fight him. So it's just fight, fight, fight. But a lot of fun characters showed up in it. And lastly, X-Men Tooth and Claw, which I thought Magic had been in the series, but it's actually the X-Men Undertow is the one Magic's in. So this one fell off my radar to track, but it's a cute story about. It's half a story about Magneto and what he does when he's not hassling Scott on the current X-Men team. And then the other half is Beast and what he does when he's not being seen in that series. And there's a character of mimic power, so he starts mimicking beasts. And it's like, oh man, how many beasts do we need? And it's awkward because this beast is a 70s a retro beast himself. So not a bad series. Like if you've been missing Magneto and Beast in the X-Men ongoing, this is the one shot for you. And then next week we have a bunch of comics here. But Magic 9, which is the penultimate issue. Um, Uncanny X-Men 20, which is supposed to be a ransom issue from the preview page. We have Doctor Strange 450, the big anniversary issue that has a magic story in there by Ashley Allen. So, a double dose of Ashley Allen magic that next on Wednesday. It's Jeff and other Marvel Tales, which I don't know if Lockheed's in it, but I didn't pre-order it, so I'm going to have to be like, do I buy that immediately? Let's find out. But they're supposed to be original stories, so that should be fun. Um, and then Avengers 30, which I saw preview pages that show magic in it. So check that out. And the Marvel Zombies are supposed to be in it too. So it's like, well, we gotta check to see if Kitty Pryde or shows up in it. And the weird that issue coming out in September when you think October would have been a more natural fit. It's not even in time for a trade, but who am I to tell Marvel how to publish their comics? And then we have Imperial War Exiles, which I'm curious to see how they recap X Manhunt. I imagine it's going to be a one sentence. throwaway of like, hey, we just left Earth, and then it's like asterisk editor box saying, if you want to find out why they left or how they left Earth, check out X-Men Manhunt. But I suspect it's literally going to be that one sentence of like, we left Earth and now the Imperial War's going on. Crazy. Let's talk about this now. But it's the exiles, and I'm surprised they didn't just go capitalize X, but it's the Xaviers and the Lolanda Namani family of them and Xandra. So that should be cute. And then Laura Kinney Wolverine 10, guest starring Gabby, Jonathan, the most real of Wolverines, and Clea. So that should be fun. And then I'm sure Xantos, the son of Dracula, will have a scene as well. And then Ultimate X-Men 19, Peach Momoko just being amazing with Zach Davison on the assists. Uh, and ever since he mentioned in a Blue Sky tweet how he's not a translator, it's like, oh, then what localization, I suppose, is what his title is, if I remember correctly from the title page. Then Wolverine 13, which has a gangster, like a 20s gangster style cover, and I looked at the preview page and Nightcrawler is involved in it, so at least check that out. And then X-Men of Apocalypse Alpha comes out, so it's like 8 titles. But that's, I think, the order of what I'm interested in. And then if X-Men of Apocalypse Alpha has a Shadowcat as a retro opinion or flashback, I'll get that one in on eBay as well. But yeah, so big week next on Wednesday. And that is the episode, everyone. So thank you so much for listening or watching if you're on YouTube. And I will talk at you next time. All right, everyone. Bye.